Greetings, traveler. I know it may be tempting not to heed warnings that are telling you to turn back now, but this one you may want to pay attention to if you're sensitive to things like foul language as well as depictions of fantasy violence and death in a fantasy setting, because those things will be heavily talked about in this upcoming episode. With that being said, this is your one and only warning to turn back now. If you stuck around this long, enjoy the show.
God, I hate that lady. All right.
So, Taran's probably going to do the noise this episode, isn't he?
Oh god, he better not.
Oh, you mean like that noise?
Yeah, that noise. That
I'm
noise
gonna kill him.
that he does all the time.
That even happened?
We've told him not to do it. Well, remember we were at Animaticon in Cincinnati last summer, and we were waiting in line for an event. And because, there was nothing to do, we were just standing in line and we didn't want to lose our spots. I was just like staring at Taran to like try to make him feel uncomfortable, because it was like, haha, funny joke. I'm just staring at you. And after a good 30 seconds, that's just what he decided to do.
It's a fear response.
Was and make now, that noise.
And now that's all he does. I swear, his final word on his tombstone is going to be that noise.
It's become like a nervous tick. Well, because he does it at your dog sometimes, Levi.
Yeah,
he did too. That was so bad.
That
was so stupid that he did it to Fendi when she tried to eat his pizza.
We're gonna get Taran blacklisted at a young age.
Yes, we are. No, Taran's gonna get Taran blacklisted at a young age. So yeah, the origin of the Taran noise is a fear response that just stuck.
Yep.
And that's your explanation. Audio listeners love you to death, so that if it happens, you have some context.
Yes, it is. That's just one of the many noises of Taran.
Mm-hmm.
And he should be here any second now.
Just waiting for him to walk through the door. Audio jungle.
Audio jungle.
We're so much better off script than on script.
We are.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Nat 1 podcast, aka Nope, because nope, you're not going to want to hear what we're going to have to say. I'm Pertusit.
I'm Levi.
I'm Jordan, and joining us today is a special guest, my kid brother, Taran.
Taran.
Hi,
Taran.
Hello, Taran. Oh. Welcome to the Nat 1 podcast.
Yeah.
Is this not the most exhilarating moment of your life?
Oh, absolutely.
Being on one of the most, if not the most popular podcast on the internet at the moment.
Yeah.
God,
count
I
'em.
wish.
20 views. Boom.
20 views. Hell yeah.
26.
26.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we've mentioned before what we wanted to do if Taran came on the show. I think in the very first episode we talked about what we might have wanted to do if Taran came onto the show, and Taran's on the show now. So I think Pertusit has the actual whole structure written down. Yeah. So why don't we just get right into it? This will be a little bit more of a D&D episode, because we're going to go through the life and times of the many Tarans.
Yeah, just before we do, though, for context for the listeners, I know we don't really do screen record or anything, but we all three are your normal co-hosts, have our face cams, webcams on. Taran's just a picture of I've actually forgotten the thing's original name.
Grimace, the McDonald's mascot.
Yes, he's not the McDonald's mascot.
And the name for Taran,
it's McDonald's.
It's Gimmis. Taran's name is Gimmis in our call.
You're not saying it correctly. It's Gimache.
Anyway, D&D.
D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond. We are not sponsored.
We're not sponsored. B&B Beyond does sponsor us.
No, they don't. For further context, so the reason that we are focusing so intently on Taran's many characters is because Taran, out of our entire group, has had the most characters out of the entire time that we've been playing Dungeons and Dragons, because this boy has the worst luck when it comes to keeping characters alive, and he has died more times than everyone at the table combined.
Yeah.
Has there actually been, now that I think about it, has there actually been another total player character death that was not Taran?
Anna had a couple.
That's true. Yep, Anna had a couple. But anyone else?
I'm trying to think. Like, we had characters that retired, but we didn't have.
TJ lost one.
Oh yeah, that was really recent. That's why I'm not thinking about it.
Oh, but that was intentional. Darkness was intentional.
Yeah.
Aaron did. Aaron lost a few.
Yeah.
Hi, Aaron.
Well, I think you lost one at one point.
Oh yeah, because Janae died.
Wow.
Yes,
I did. Okay. It's
so
all flooding back
what
now.
You're
yes,
saying,
there have been other character deaths.
I win D&D is what you're saying.
Yes.
Whoa.
But yeah, let's get started. Let's get on. Let's get back onto the correct rail.
All right, Taran. We've memed a lot about you and your characters, your luck, and your interesting decision making.
Stillness of mind. Yeah.
We're gonna open with your first character chronologically, starting from Vivia 1.
Yeah.
So tell us name your character and how you came about this character and like what you were thinking when you made him.
Just to preface before we get into it, there are 3 campaigns that we've played. 2 of them are called Vivia. They are the campaigns I have run, and then there's Olympus, which is the campaign Pertusit is running. So this is the first Vivia campaign.
Yeah.
The one with no rules.
The one where we didn't play with rules yet because we didn't own rule books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Basically, first campaign that we ever played. Nobody knew what we were doing, so I decided I was going to play a rogue named Galahad, who was also
he was a rogue.
Yes.
I didn't know. I think all of us just had the same reaction of rogue.
He was a rogue lycanthrope, which is important.
Yeah.
I thought he was a ranger.
That was the second one.
I thought he was a fighter. Okay.
I thought he was a sorcerer.
Okay. So
you think I was that creative at my first one?
Continue.
Taran, did you have like any RP thing in mind? Like, did you base this off of anything? I know later on you had some.
No.
No. Okay.
But basically, the way that I came up with this character is 5 minutes before we were going to leave for Levi's house. I looked through our dad's 3rd edition handbook and just picked a random class and ran with it.
Okay. Fair enough. We had some interesting first characters.
That's what I did as well. This was also the campaign that some of us, we weren't playing with rule books, but some of us knew enough from various things to know generally what was going on. So me and Taran played in a weird combination of 3.5, and Pathfinder, while everybody else was playing 5e.
Yeah.
But still with no rules.
Yeah, and both of us were using a Pathfinder character sheet app.
Yeah. So before anyone jumps to try and think about my first character's name, because I still cringe from that infinitely, Taran, what was your intentions with Galahad as you went along, as you were playing him? What were you intending for his path?
Did we say that his name was Galahad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But the thing with that is that I didn't have any intentions because of how quickly he died.
All right. Well,
God dang.
If there's a good as time as any, Taran, why don't you enlighten us all? What happened to poor Galahad? It must have been tragic.
Okay.
Rest in peace.
So, for context, we were playing with, I think it was homebrew lycanthrope rules.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. So one of the things that I could,
homebrew lycanthrope rules.
So one of the things that I could do was I could turn into a werewolf, but I would have to make a d20 roll, and on a 1, it does a bunch of damage to me. That is very important context for later. We were coming out of a tunnel in, I don't even remember where. It was some city.
There was a place in my homebrew world, which is my basis for it was, what if it was Venice but Japanese culture? So it was a giant floating city on the ocean, basically, that was like Venice, but it was all Asian inspired culture stuff, and it was called Lycania. Because it was a place where all the beast folk races in D&D, like the Tabaxi and the Minotaurs and all that, they all lived together in one nation there. So it was called Lycania. It was named after lycanthropy.
Yeah. So the party was coming out of a sewer, and we had just gotten done being chased by some people. I don't remember exactly why, but we were coming out of a sewer, and we got to this river that we had to cross to get into the city. Everybody else crossed it perfectly fine. Then it got to my turn to cross the river. I rolled, I think it was 2 nat ones in a row, almost drowned, but survived afterwards.
If I remember
across the river.
correctly,
Yeah.
it was everyone made athletics checks and everyone passed except for you.
Yeah.
You got like halfway over, were floundering,
Yeah.
began sinking, and
then
when
you set
made
a timer.
yes, when you made the other check to see if you could finish and get through while basically being half underwater, you failed. So I made your foot get stuck in like the riverbed. You got like stuck in mud in the riverbed.
Someone had to pull you out, and I don't remember who it was.
I think it was Anna's character.
It probably was.
Probably. So I got over to the other side. I was already half dead, like pretty close to death. Then we heard some guards coming. We heard somebody coming.
They were at like the edge of a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like when you got a river, but you got like 2 little short walls at the top of the river, and you go up over that wall and into like actual city. That's what it was. They were at like this short little wall before the actual foundation of the city, and they had just climbed up it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we heard some people coming, and we had already been like wanted by guards. That's why we were coming out of the sewer.
They had just broken out of prison. Well, they had broken someone out of prison.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that it would be a good idea for me to transform into a werewolf so that I would fit in and they wouldn't see my face. Rolled a nat 1 on that d20 check.
was already at like half health.
I was already at like half health. I think I rolled another nat 1 after that to see what the effect would be.
For the con saving throw, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I literally just had a stroke and died.
Yeah,
there it is.
Oh, and then we can't forget what happened afterwards is my character forgot that we were being pursued by guards and yelled on top of the wall, "Hey guys, what are we going to do with the dead body?"
Yeah.
And then antics ensued. Yep.
Yeah. So I gotta say, I was waiting for you to finish out your part, Taran, but there's a part you forgot. When you got pulled up out of the water, my character, the chaotic evil character,
oh my god,
saw that you were half injured and was like,
killing.
"All right, I'm gonna kill him." And I went up to go cast inflict wounds, and I can't remember if I hit you or if everyone stopped me. Because I think if I
for
hit
that
you,
one, everyone stopped you.
Yeah, because the everybody healed as a cantrip was later.
Oh my god.
And this was one of those times where Pertusit's character had tried to kill me and didn't succeed.
Yes.
That's one of the times where it
now
succeed.
Do we want to give context for who Pertusit's character was?
Oh yes.
Oh, we don't gotta say his name, right?
Say
the
his
greatness.
name, Pertusit.
I've already said it once.
We can say it and just not translate it so that people have to go find out what it means on their own.
But it's worse because it was mistranslated because it was before I really knew Japanese, so I said it wrong.
Don't tell them the language.
Okay. Well, okay. We've talked before on the
this.
show. Some of us, we watch anime, we read manga. I am also a weeb.
Weebs.
And at like 2018, I was like at the peak of my weebdom. And we were talking about doing a D&D campaign, and I was like, yeah, sick, sweet. I'm going to make an evil death cleric. I want their name to be cool, but I don't want anyone to know what it is. I know Japanese some. I'm going to name him. I was trying to go for Shinigami, which in Japanese is like reaper of sorts or death god. But I wanted to just like fit the D&D world, so I named him Shinigami. Shine. For sure.
His first name was Shine, and his last name was Gami.
Yeah, I just really had fun with him, and anytime I had a chance to do something pretty evil, I just took it. So when Taran was almost dead, I was like, it'd be funny if I killed him.
And that's where the mercy killing rule came
His
in, because
explanation
every
was
single
mercy
time,
killing.
Yeah, every single time that anybody's character got low, instead of healing them, the cleric would try to mercy kill them.
But here's the thing. Nobody else got under half health enough.
It was
to have
always
this
me.
rule inflicted on them other than Taran.
And it wasn't just this character.
No.
Well, no, we'll continue with that. Don't
Okay.
explain that
Yeah,
part. We'll
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
So the rest of us, when we first started, what were your guys' thoughts upon Galahad with Taran's characters? What were you thinking when this lad rogue apparently stepped through the door?
So I don't actually remember my first take of any of the characters because that was when I was back at school because I was working for the summer. And so I called in on Discord. Actually, I don't think it was Discord. I think it was like Facebook Messenger and voice chatted. And that was the beginning of the horrible hybrid in-person and online D&D that does not work and we do not recommend. So Mercury was there for the start of the campaign, but I do not remember a lot of the first session because I couldn't hear it.
I remember all of the first session.
I remember as DM that I had high expectations for everyone because it was our first time playing D&D together and I was really excited. And now after DMing this group for about three years, I can confidently tell you, I was not prepared.
I remember when that was going on, and in truth, Taran and I had not interacted too much at that. So when he came in and he was like, "Yeah, I'm playing a lycanthrope," I was like, "How to tell me you're a furry without telling me you're a furry?" And like, I just kind of judged him, and I was like, "This guy, he's got a lame name, he's got a lame race. I don't think he's going to be very cool." This is a secret I never told any of you. I mercy killed him on purpose. No.
Yes.
No, as time went on, I was like, yeah, I don't care. We're having fun. He's having fun. But at first, I was like, really? Lycanthrope? You're not going to be a cool dark elf like me?
Before we realized what drow were.
Yeah. So that about sums up the life of Galahad, I think. Do we have any other comments about
Very
Galahad?
short
It
life
was
of Galahad.
2 sessions about.
Was
not-
it 2
it's not-
sessions?
And
We got through a
Longer
bit.
actually,
than that.
it was
It
about,
wasn't 2 sessions. The
3 or
beginning of the
4.
game just felt very fast, I think.
it was 3 or 4 sessions, which
Yeah.
surprisingly is not my quickest character.
Yeah.
I think it was just how extremely abrupt the death was makes it feel so much
Yeah.
faster.
Well, and I also think it might have been because that back in those days we were playing D&D like 4 times a week for 13 hours.
Yeah.
And so like we got through a pretty big chunk of that campaign that summer because we played almost every weekday.
Yeah.
And we would go from that was when we were starting in the morning. We would start from like 10:30 and go till 1 in the morning.
So
now we're
Trent.
old.
Now we're old.
Taran, your next character. I remember this one well.
This
Because
is
I
probably
succeeded on killing this one.
Yes, this is probably my second favorite character that I've ever played.
All right,
It was really fun because this one was based on an anime character from actually one of my least favorite animes. Yeah, Himiko from My Hero.
Yeah.
I had a character based on her, and it was Human Ranger, and I was playing a chaotic evil ranger that was supposed to be a serial killer. Oh god, that introduction was...
Oh my god, the introduction was so stupid.
that was
okay.
That was
you explain your point of view of the introduction.
So it was immediately after my first character death. I think it got introduced the same session because I died at the beginning of the session, and I spent the rest of the session designing the character, and then I sent it over to Levi.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So later down the line, we got the party got to this house and they had kidnapped somebody, and this was their house. That's an explanation for later.
No, Bryson had kidnapped somebody.
Yeah. But that's the thing for later.
This is actually a very important plot point in the history of my homebrew world.
Yes. But they had gotten to this guy's house, and they were inside the house, and my character, I don't even remember the reason why she was there. I just remember that she was there.
You had marked one of them as your next stalking target.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I was standing outside of the house, just staring at the door.
Yeah.
And then one of them notices me. I don't remember what the character was.
It was Aaron.
It was Aaron's character. I don't remember what character it was.
I don't remember the name.
Oh,
but he was playing
Jameis.
because That was
Jameis.
Yeah, that was Jameis.
Because
the
that was
drill.
when
yeah.
the JoJo was really big at the time. Well, JoJo's still pretty big, but JoJo was like popping at the time.
Yeah.
It was in big motion, and he was way into it, and he wanted a character that had a stand, like in
Mhm.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I was a little baby DM, so I was like, "That sounds cool. Let's do it." Oh my God, don't do it, guys.
All
But
right.
yeah, he was the watchdog. He was the protector that was
Yeah.
on watch and noticed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he noticed me, comes outside, immediately tries to kill me.
Yep.
Me being a ranger, I cast fog outside of the house,
Yeah.
and then I set a snare. He got caught in the snare, and I just left him there and walked inside the house.
Unrelated to Taran's character, he later got kidnapped because of this.
That
Yes.
is true.
It was
Yes.
great. We got him. We rescued him.
We
kind
got
of.
him back.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so that was the beginnings of Himiko. Did you give her the same last name? I can't remember.
I've never given any of my characters last names.
Taran doesn't do
Wow.
last names.
I
didn't
don't do
notice
last
that.
names.
Anyway, so now as this campaign went on, we know the fate of what happened to your character, but
Mhm.
tell us, what were you intending as this went on? Were you intending for Himiko to make it to the end? Did you have high, lofty goals like you did with Shiro, or?
Not for this one. I was just having her survive and go about her business, just doing fun, chaotic, evil things
Yeah.
until
Now,
we got to a specific point where my alignment got changed.
yeah, it's very interesting to note about the fact that like Terrence's character lasted through 2 of mine, and it
Yeah.
the first one, of course, was my evil cleric that pretty much tried to adopt your character and was like, come with me,
Yes.
serve me. And we kind of worked. It kind of worked, you know?
Until you
and
tried
then
to
you tried
kill
to
her.
mercy kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I tried to
Again.
mercy kill you because you were on low HP and you deserved it, let's be honest. No. That didn't work. And then there was the whole thing that happened later, which we'll probably find a session where we'll, or a D&D talk. We'll find a recording time. We'll talk about the actual events of Campaign 1, probably.
Oh yeah, that'll
Yeah.
be a whole series. We'll do like a yeah.
Point is, my character died. New character
Yeah.
came in.
Although I feel like we should go over the mercy kill incident before we get to the actual death of Himiko.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it was still in the same city.
Yeah.
This was just a couple sessions after my
Yes.
character got introduced. And one of the greatest things that I've ever done in a D&D campaign was I caused a massive, like, apocalyptic combat
It was
just
a
because I tried to
wonderful
steal
session.
something. It was a great session. So we broke into this woman's house. I stole the sword of her like dead son or something. Then she found out and tried to kill us. So, and we were not supposed to get into this combat at all. This was not intended. This was complete improv. She stabbed me. I was super close to dying and we started running. While we're running, while
Blood
we
in
are
the
running,
water.
Produce's mercy killing rule goes into effect. He just starts inflict woundsing me
over and over again.
and over again.
And if I may interrupt real quick, when this happened, we were running away and we were ahead and would have gotten away if we had not stopped just inside of the gate to this house for Pertuzit to kill Taran, and then also for what happens after Pertuzit tries to kill Taran.
Yeah, we should explain that we were playing D&D very wrong.
Very wrong.
We all thought that Cure Wounds was a cantrip.
Yes,
I don't know where we got that from.
I don't either.
That might have been my fault.
But basically, it was everybody was in rounds of combat, and everybody was just healing me repeatedly
Except
as
me.
fast as they possibly could, while Pertuzit is just doing inflict wounds over and over and over.
And this was before we realized spell slots existed too. So that's how this went on for so long.
I played by the spell slot rules. I used like 4 inflict wounds, and you guys were like, "Well, he's out, so we'll keep cure woundsing." And I was like, This is
If I remember correctly, Himiko in this instance actually died 2 times.
Yeah, 2
Yes.
or 3.
Yes.
Died as in went into at what would have been went into death saving throws.
Yeah.
Which at the time I don't think we knew existed.
We did not do
So,
death saving
we
throws
did
at
not
that
do
time.
them. But it would have been
Miraculously.
Himiko went down into death saving throws twice because the inflict wounds reduced her to 0 twice.
I got a nat 20
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
That's true.
But miraculously, we all survived and we all got away.
No, we didn't. But we all died until Levi decided. Great,
Yeah.
merciful Levi decided to save us with an NPC.
Partially DM
With
mercy.
an NPC, which we'll get into that NPC later because the
That
glorious
can be
story
during
of
the
how
Vivia
that,
story
yeah,
explanation
that
episode.
NPC.
We'll do
But-
that later.
Yeah.
Way later down the line,
Way
Shanae was
later.
dead, and my character had gotten their alignment shifted from chaotic evil to true neutral. And I did not know what to do with her at this point. So we were just going through, and we got to a point wherever we had to go down into Avernus to go get Jordan's character because she had gone away for college. So we had a plot point where she got kidnapped and got sent down to Avernus. So we get down there. We're just walking through, and we get to this point where there is a singular Baylor blocking our path.
Oh my god. I'd forgotten about this.
We had to get through, and we didn't know what to do. So the idea that we came up with was we had to have somebody to use as bait.
Yeah.
And that somebody happened to be
Guess
me.
who?
So I start running towards the Baylor and running onto a bridge. Somehow, I don't even remember how the Baylor dies. I don't know how we
that
killed.
brought you
Yeah.
to Avernus killed it. The
Yeah,
NPC
killed
that
it.
brought
Yeah.
them to Avernus was a Celestial.
Yep.
Yeah, so the Baylor dies.
We all ran without him.
Yeah.
One of my greatest RP moments and one of the greatest decisions that I've ever made in my infinite wisdom.
Imagine having no. For all DMs out there, imagine having to come up with something to deal with this, especially when you're a new DM and you're like, I have to do something. I can't just have it be a nothing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I would have just had it been nothing. But back then, I was like, he's doing it. I gotta have something happen.
So I see the Baylor's corpse, and the Baylor's corpse is burning. So in my
'Cause it blew
infinite
up.
wisdom, yeah, it blew up. So in my infinite wisdom, I pull out a piece of bread and I decide I'm gonna make corpse toast, or as it's later known, soul toast, because this flame is the soul of a Baylor.
I cursed the toast, guys. I cursed the
Yeah,
toast.
and I ate it,
Mhm.
and I got cursed, and I
Yep.
got a demon tattoo out of that.
Yeah. But then.
But
Oh wait, there's more.
there's way more than that. We get into the town that we're going to. That's in Avernus, and I get banned from the inn that we're staying at. I don't remember why.
the soul toast.
It was because
It was
because
the
of
soul
tattoo.
toast. Yeah, it was the soul toast. But because I had a visible tattoo from
Yep.
the being possessed.
Yeah.
So we get to the inn that we're going to be staying at, and I try to sneak into the inn. Somebody throws me out the window, and I have to sleep on the street at like half health, and I don't get the benefits of a long rest because I'm sleeping on the street. So I'm still at half health in the morning.
Yeah.
Pertuzit's new character
That's
is
me.
a fighter, and he's what, lawful good, right?
I was
Was it
neutral good.
Neutral good. And his main thing was that he liked intimidating people and joking
Yes.
around with people.
Yeah.
So whenever we get up in the morning and I look like I'm dying, what he thinks is gonna be funny is if he throws his hand axe at me and intentionally misses.
Yeah. I would miss. It was I'm a good skilled fighter.
Intentionally missing.
He rolls a nat 1 to throw it.
Yep.
So it hits me. And then Levi has him roll again to see if it goes wildly off of course and hits somebody else, or if it hits me. He rolls a nat 20 on that. So it hits me and it crits. I die immediately from a hand axe to the face.
Exactly.
The character that doesn't mercy kill did it.
And I had survived through so much by this point. There had been so much that I had gone through. And that's how Himiko died.
And fun fact, this was before we started doing Zoom D&D, because this was pre-pandemic. So I wasn't there. I had gone off to college, which was why my character wasn't there. I wasn't at the session. And I got a text from someone later that I don't remember if it was one of you guys or if it was Taran. I don't remember who texted me. All I remember is somebody texted me like, hey, yeah, Taran made toast and then died again. And I was just like, what do you mean? He made toast and then died again. And somebody was like, yeah, no, Taran's character, Himiko's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a fun one though. Himiko lasted quite a while. When
I actually want to say
good
something that I don't think I've ever said. I was disappointed that Himiko died. I wanted her to be Taran's character in Vivia 1 that got to the end of the story.
I was
loved
disappointed
that character
too.
so much. I was as well. I loved playing that character. It was so fun.
I missed my miss and killed you. I will not live that down.
And also this is, I'm assuming this is also a byproduct from the fact that we still did not do death saving throws back then.
No.
If you died, you died.
Yeah.
She could have survived.
I am determined in Vivia 3 to find a way to revive Himiko.
Oh my god!
Want to so badly.
Go save Galahad.
No.
Dang.
No,
you guys are fighting the BBEG. Guys, she's too strong. We're all too weak. How are we gonna get through this? Behind
Level
you,
20 Ranger.
the Taran team. All of his characters ever.
Oh yeah, and one more thing about Galahad before we move on to the next character. I should note that he was an arcane trickster rogue as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's why I thought you were a sorcerer.
Yeah, that's just a little tidbit. I don't remember fully what happened to the next character. I just remember the concept for the character.
It
was one of the biggest mistakes that I have ever made in designing a character. Because this was my first time playing a warlock. Warlock is one of my favorite classes.
And Nor was a warlock. Dang.
I remembered this one. This one.
That did not have vocal cords.
Nope.
So she couldn't talk.
Nope.
And I had specifically designed a cantrip with Levi so that I could teach other people sign language. It still was bad because I couldn't talk to people. I would have to go and touch people to talk to people. And even then, I can't shout or anything to alert people.
In hindsight, also, even though you were a warlock, any spells with verbal components you wouldn't have been able to cast.
Yes.
Oh god, I didn't even think about that.
I'm lucky that we didn't do that rule.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember how she died. I just remember that playing that character was awful.
How did she die? I don't remember.
It wasn't one of the fire people.
Mm-mm.
It was a dragon fight, I think. It was the Mind Flayer dragon fight.
What?
No.
Whenever we went to that mountain and there were Mind Flayers.
Yeah.
There was also a dragon there at some point.
Yep.
I remember
the
Mind Flayers.
About now. Yep.
Yeah.
Was that where she died?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Because when we went and talked to the big dragon, the head honcho dragon, that's when Taran's new character appeared.
Yeah.
I remember. I know why it was so...
before that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was when we fought the one that we actually fought.
Okay.
I think I know why it was so confusing, because we had another character that was introduced that session that was there for half of a session and then was retired immediately because it was decided that he was not a viable character. And so that was the same episode. That was the same
revolving
session.
Door.
Yes.
Yep. Revolving door. So Taran.
And then that was Anor, the worst character experience that I've ever had.
That's Anor.
Yeah.
Lenore.
And then Artorias was the last character that I had in Vivia 1. I barely remember anything about
Guys,
this character other than it was awful.
Wait, Taran, before you say anything. I don't think we should tell them who it was based off of. I
They'll
think
never
people
know.
Wow.
they'll never know
Wow.
who the character
They'll never
Artorias
know.
was based off of. I
They'll
think we should
never
leave that
know.
part a secret.
I genuinely
Artorias.
don't know who the character was based off of.
Don't tell her. Don't.
Yeah. So, and this character is one of the many reasons why we do not use homebrew classes and
Yep.
homebrew subclasses.
We
Because-
trialed by fire everything, and eventually we figured out what we were allowed to not use.
Yeah. Because this character was a homebrew class, not subclass. Class. It was, I think the title was Beastmaster. I don't remember.
That sounds
It
right.
was poorly designed. It didn't make sense. I just liked it for the flavor. So
Because Seif, you had Seif.
yeah, I had a dog with me. This one didn't die. This is my character that made it to the end. That
Yeah.
had no connections with anybody because he was there for 2 sessions.
All right.
So
That's
Yeah.
Taran in the first campaign in summary. I gotta be honest, yeah, I wish Himiko would have made it to the end, but
I do too. I love that character.
Wait, was
Um,
Artorias based on Fate?
no.
No, I've never watched Fate. What do you
Okay.
mean?
Well, that's why I was confused because I
I'm
was
the
like,
one who
Alright.
does the fate
I
stuff.
know
Okay.
that's why I was confused.
Some people are genuinely not gonna know. So Artorias is a very famous character from the Souls trilogy, for those of you that don't know the Dark Souls games.
Yeah.
It's a very well-known character that had their own DLC in Dark Souls 1, the first Dark Souls game. There was an entire DLC based off of them, and they were the
Yeah.
final boss of the DLC.
Not the final, that was Manus.
Oh, I didn't realize Manus was from that DLC.
So yeah, Himiko, we all knew what Himiko, well, at least Levi and I definitely knew what Himiko was from.
Yep.
I did.
When you heard that name, Levi, tell me, did a wave of cringe wash over you?
Yes.
It's
Yes,
fair.
I remember.
In hindsight, I wish that I didn't base her off of anything. I wish that I just did that character
I
concept.
That would have
remember
been cool.
when Taran was like, "I'm gonna make it." Is her first name? Is Himiko her first name or is Himiko her last
I
name?
Don't
I can't remember.
Because
I've not watched My Hero
Is it
in a while.
Tosaka? Is that her other name?
Toga.
Toga is her. other name.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
Himiko Toga. I remember when he was like, "I'm gonna have my character be Toga Himiko." I was like, "Oh boy."
Yeah.
We all do that though. We all go through a phase of doing something like that. Like I had dang Sinead. But yeah, Himiko was very fun as you played her. I
Yes.
loved the dynamic that our characters had.
Oh,
Uh,
well, it lasted.
well, that
Didn't you guys go like kill a prostitute together?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they did.
If Himiko was just a bit earlier though, she probably would have helped me abduct that child that one time.
Yeah. Yes,
No,
you would
instead
have.
I was the one that helped you abduct that child that one time.
And not good enough because we didn't get her.
I tried, okay?
Uh,
Yeah, but that's V1.
That's Vivian.
Vivia 2. Vivia.
do you very briefly want to go over your sci-fi character?
Oh God.
Are we acknowledging that one?
I think that we should save.
It's not canon, but it's still
sci-fi.
something we did.
Oh, let's save
I
the
think that we
sci-fi
should
for a
save
whole-
sci-fi.
Okay,
for something.
okay.
It's a whole-
We'll save that. That's an
because-
entire episode. That's an entire episode.
It deserves it.
So Vivia 2. Vivia 2.
We have rules now.
We have
We
rules.
have
rules.
We
Find
bought
new
all.
rules.
We bought the rule books, all of them. I own
We-
every
we
rule book on
actually-
D&D Beyond.
We actually know how to play D&D now.
Mhm.
I decide that I am going to play a goblin artificer.
Half goblin. Half
Half
goblin.
goblin artificer.
But the race
Named-
was Goblin.
Yeah. But named Neb. Poor Neb. Poor Neb.
I tried so hard, Taran. I tried so hard.
I didn't.
I know.
Let the man explain, Neb.
So Neb is my shortest character because she lasted for 1.5 sessions. And this was the beginning of the campaign.
Where we knew how to play by the rules.
Where we knew how to play by the rules. So it's an artificer. At low levels, artificers are not that great in combat.
Nope.
So we get to this town that's infested by goblins. So we have to take out all these goblins. We end up clearing the town out, and the goblins retreat into the mountains. So we decided to go into the mountains and infiltrate their little hideout. We go into the hideout, and my character is Goblin Artificer that's also supposed to be a detective. I decided that she was going to go investigate around the compound and see what we could find.
Ahead of everyone else.
Yes, ahead of everybody else, because nimble, quick goblin.
At level 2.
At level 2. We were at level 2 at this point. I find this button. I push the button.
Let me just preface this with this room that Neb found the button in had multiple goblins and hobgoblins and one bugbear in it before she came in. And then they all left the room because the rest of the party had entered the complex like 2 rooms behind her, and there were like 2 entrances to the room they were in. And they had gotten alerted, and they were like, oh, we're going to go see what's going on at the main entrance. So this was very clearly like a room that was well under the enemy, quote unquote, control. This room was under their lock and key, pretty much.
Yeah, so I find a button, and being curious little goblin, I push the button. Turns out that button was a silent alarm. So a bunch of bricks started glowing. So I started following the bricks to see what they would lead to. I get into a tunnel, and there's 5 bugbears that are heavily armored that just beat me to death.
Yeah. And then they
curb
threw.
stomped.
The best part was that they threw her dead body over a waterfall.
Yeah.
He that's the thing, is if the party, all of them together, would have came into this room, they would have watched like one of the hobgoblins push this, and it would have very obviously been like an alarm, because afterwards multiple bugbears would have came upstairs and they would have had to fight them.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Yeah, no.
I think perhaps the best part of that incident was like we had cleared the combat with the room, and then Neb was with us, and we were moving through the dungeon after the button had been pressed, and we were moving along the tunnel, and Neb goes down while we're investigating a room that has multiple exits. Neb just goes down one of the tunnels, and we're all like, okay, you know, maybe she'll find something, maybe she'll come get us, and starts dying to the heavily armored bugbears down the way.
Yeah, that's like 40 feet downstairs from where they are. Neb, that's the thing too. Do you want to explain that? You could have retreated, Taran. I want you to tell the audience what you did when the bugbears got to you.
So the glowing bricks. As an artificer at level 2, you have artificer infusion. So what I decided I was gonna do was grab one of the bricks that's glowing, yank it out of the wall, and make it a returning weapon. So what I decided I was going to do was stand at the top of the stairs and just chuck a brick repeatedly at a bunch of bugbears.
It did not end well.
Who advanced to where she was in one turn and beat her to death.
They curb stomped her
with their mauls.
Yeah,
Died
very quickly. Yeah, that was a good character.
and let us acknowledge that this was technically the second death of Neb, because again, by the good grace of Levi, Neb did not die in the first session of Vivia 2 as intended.
Yeah, by rules, Neb probably would have died there.
Neb should have died there because there was definitely not time to cast Spare the Dying. But Levi decided, since it was the first session, that Neb was not going to die and I was allowed to bring her back.
That's a lot to say about Neb, mostly because it was a spectacular early death. It was so remarkable. We have to know every detail because otherwise people wouldn't believe it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But next, Taran.
Victoria, my
Dang
monk.
thief.
Pertuzza, what was your character's name?
Victor.
I had this character concept before the campaign started.
Yeah, well, mine lived.
So Victoria was a monk. And I decided that our party didn't have a healer at this point.
Excuse you.
Well, no, we actually didn't have a healer because you weren't playing a cleric yet.
And I had switched by that point.
No, you hadn't.
Yes,
You
I
actually
had.
hadn't. Because Jordan started off playing a custom class. It was a homebrew class.
Again, we hadn't gotten to the point where we had
don't do
banned those
homebrew
yet.
Yeah, so I was playing Victoria, who was a monk, and it was the new Unearthed Arcana subclass for monk called A Way of Mercy, which is one of the worst things that I've ever played in my life. It is, I mean, it's better now because of the official version.
Mm.
The Unearthed Arcana version was just bad. It was just not good.
But she lasted longer than Neb.
She lasted for a good bit until she didn't.
Oh, now this one, the impetus is on Levi. This is a fun one. Hold on.
No, this
Oh
one
my
was still on
God.
Taran. This one was still
No, it
Taran's
wasn't
fault.
because Simonius lived.
Okay. Taran, you tell us what happened from your perspective.
Okay. So the big bad guy in our campaign, or what we thought was the big bad guy in our campaign, was this thing called Eok, Incarnate of Chaos. She had befriended the party at one point, and we had become friendly with her. Also, for context, out of everybody in the party, I had the least amount of wealth. I had the least amount of magic items.
That is not true. We were tied.
True.
We were tied.
No, you had more than I did. I had 2 because I had.
Continue the story.
Yeah,
Continue.
because all I had was boots that gave me like a +1 to initiative rolls and an immovable rod. We get to this point wherever Eok tells us, unless you give up some of your magic items, like 1 or 2 of your magic items for everybody in the party, I'm just gonna kill you. I say no because I have 2 and everybody else in the party has like 15. So she just power word kills me because I'm a level 6 monk that only has 30 HP.
Yeah.
So I die, and then another character says no to her, and she just lets him go.
There was another character that said no to her that just got their gender swapped.
That is also true.
Yeah.
That is also
but
true.
No, I say no because I don't have anything, and I die.
Well, to be fair, Simonius and Eok were buddies, so.
So yeah, here's my side of the story as the DM. This was like, I would say this was still considerably early in my DMing career. I would say this was close to the tipping point of where I was still probably considered amateur at this point. And I gave the party way too many magical items, not evenly distributed. I will say this was very much my own fault. This was my fault as DM. I had given the party way too many magical items and they were not evenly distributed amongst the party either. So I was like, oh, I gotta get rid of some of their magical items. I gotta get rid of them somehow. How do I do it? And so I was like, I'll just have the BBEG show up and say, give me your strongest magical item that you have on your person, or I will do something to you. It wasn't explicit that she would have killed you. It was she would do something pretty bad to you. Killing was one of them. So the main thing I was trying to get out of this was the bard in the party, which is TJ. We've mentioned TJ a couple times before. Yeah. He was playing a elven valor bard who I had given, I don't remember what, but it was one of the belts of giant strength.
It was, I think, Cloud.
Anyone who knows what the belt of giant strength are. That's ridiculous. The hill giant belt of hill giant strength, which is the weakest one, is a spectacular magical item. It's great. It's wonderful. It sets your strength to 21.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh crap, they're level 6. He shouldn't have that. Why did I give him that? I got to get rid of that. So this was the main purpose of this entire event, was to get that off of him. I could have done a multitude of things differently in retrospect, but I didn't. And this is what we ended up with.
Yes.
So the BBEG.
Well, thank you, Levi, for killing this character, though.
Oh wait, let me give you a little bit more explanation. The BBEG demands a magic item from each of them. Fenral gives his belt, which I honestly really didn't expect him to do.
He didn't do it without a fight.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. But once he knew that like he was outmatched, he did still give it over.
Yeah, like killed him, and he used one of the deck cards to reverse time. And
which
then
that's
was like,
the
okay.
thing. He was the first one. So you would think logically, after having seen that happen, one would wish to preserve their character before a magical item.
No.
But Taran did not pick that option. And so his character died and did not have what card was it that he had?
Like the fate?
Whatever card it is from the deck of many things that lets you undo one thing that has happened. Didn't have that card, so yours was done and permanent. I could argue, although at the time this was not the intention at all, so I really shouldn't argue, but I could argue that Eok letting Simonius and Victor live was just part of her being a god of chaos and being like, haha, funny, these ones don't get to die, haha, stupid.
Bazinga.
Yeah, bazinga. I could argue that unlogically makes sense for her character, but I'm not going to, because at the time I wasn't even thinking of it that way.
Well,
I'm just gonna straight up admit that this was just bad DMing as me. It was bad. It was a bad situation.
A really big party moment, though.
Yeah,
it allowed for the next character.
Thank you for killing that character, Levi, because it led to the greatest character that I've ever played.
This is true.
Now, Taran, I need you to highlight the first classes that you had, because I think that's still really funny. And your background.
Oh my god. This character went through, in campaign, 3 different classes. And Levi let me do it. Thank you.
I let him do it.
Because originally, the concept for this character was, for context, the character that Pertuzit was playing was an orphan killer.
Yes.
He was a rogue that grew up in an orphanage and killed people at the orphanage thinking that he was saving them. The concept that I had for this character was one of those kids that he had killed who got brought back to life because she had held such a strong vengeance against him. And the entire concept that I had for this character was her growing to accept the fact that he's not an awful person anymore and actually becoming friends with them. So I created a custom subclass for Warlock that was Pact of the Ethereal, wherever it was a god brings you back to life, and you have to have something to tether you to the mortal plane so you can do cool stuff like being able to use Blink at will, and like having with charges, not just infinitely. So the original concept was this was going to be a multi-class Warlock and Arcane Archer Fighter, because I had a mechanic in that subclass wherever you could do extra damage after coming out of a blink. This did not work. That lasted for a session. So what ended up happening was I talked to Levi and we rearranged my classes so it was just 100% Warlock. The subclass was not working out. It was just not good because I hadn't playtested it. I hadn't looked into anything yet. So what we decided was going to happen was, well, also for context for this, we had gotten to a point in our story wherever we were in a town that was under siege. This town was like getting destroyed. It was a giant city, and there were a bunch of demons coming to it. I decide, because I had just gotten my 7th level magic, that I am going to use plane shift to go try to find something for insurance in case something bad happens. So during this session, everybody else is off doing stuff, and basically the entire session until the end with my stuff was me sitting there just researching. So what I did was just look through different planes of existence and see what I could try. I find that there is the temporal plane, which is something that has like the least amount of notes that I've ever seen on anything from any D&D world. So I tell Levi, I'm gonna go to the temporal plane and I'm gonna see what I can do there.
You should have seen the look on my fucking face. Oh, that was an F-bomb.
This is
PG-13.
That's why we have the mature content warning.
You should have seen the look on my face, though. Oh.
And this is one of the greatest decisions that I've ever made in my entire life, in or outside of the game. This changed the course of the entire campaign as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the temporal plane, and I spend the last half of the session just doing stuff in there, seeing what I can figure out. And I eventually figure out how to do time travel. I can't do it consistently yet, though, so I start doing more research into that. Later on, my warlock patron sees that I'm not killing Victor, so he comes and, takes my soul, and I'm just laying there dead in a field until this guy that I train in the future comes from the future and gives me a spell book, so I'm now a chronergy wizard.
Ta-da!
And the spell book worked in the same way that the original warlock subclass worked, which was it was considered the item which was tethering Shiro to the material plane.
Yes. Yeah, so, and in that, Levi, to make it fair for me having an entire class change, has it so I can read a chapter of the book every long rest, and each chapter that I read gives me a level. So I start off as a level 0 commoner, and I have to spend 13 long rests to get back up to the rest of the party. And throughout this, he throws a dragon fight at us while I'm level 6.
Hey, you're the one who changed your class.
That's true.
Yeah, dummy. No.
And in this dragon fight, Taran lost all of his extremities.
It was
No,
funny.
that was
I
a
had to
later
go pick
one.
him up.
That was a later one.
That was the other one, Jordan.
That was the other one.
Oh, yeah.
This was a purple dragon, and this one is also important because this is where I started getting dragon armor. But
was that the one that ate you?
No, that was the core. That was the star spawn emissary.
There are so many bad things that happen to you, man. I can't keep them straight.
This character is the one that got to the end of the campaign. She lived for so long.
She had a lot of times where she almost died, though.
You're welcome.
Now, before we start recapping everything that happened in the campaign, Taran, go ahead and tell us the fate that happened to this Shiro. What happened with her?
So we get to the end of the campaign, and Levi had told me, through my research, I have figured out that me going into the temporal plane and using magic to go through there saps my life force. So I start trying to think of ways to extend my lifespan so I don't die super, super early. One of the ways that we had discussed but weren't actually going to do was a 10th level spell that just extends the lifespan of the user. Because I had done research into this, and I at this point, at the end of the campaign in our epilogue, I made a floating city and made a mage's college.
Level 20 wizard.
Yeah, level 20 wizard. I made a floating city. The people in my mage's college, and also with Pertuzit's character's help, decide that they're going to have a coup because I'm dangerous because I was going to make a call to give myself more life force, which I wasn't going to do, but I had thought about it. So they take away all of my wizard levels. So I have to go and just go into retirement super early. And I die at like the age of 40. But in the meantime, and this is something coming in our next campaign, our party had inherited a castle from, I think, the Deck of Many Things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shiro moves to that castle, and she had gone through the Tomb of Annihilation before, saw that and said, that would be funny. So Shiro's Tomb of Funnies is in the castle, and it is going to be a dungeon in Vivia 3, hopefully, if I can finish it.
Along with Shiro's spa and resort.
Yes, but it's not death traps, it's just funny.
So, thus concludes the story of Taran's characters throughout Vivia. I know we've had a bit of a long one. We'll try and we'll quickly hit the Olympus characters.
There's not too much to talk about with that.
Yeah, they didn't have anything nearly as extreme happen with them as what would happen with Neb and Galahad.
God.
But we got to start at the beginning. So let's talk about Erebus.
Erebus. Erebus, yeah.
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, literally.
What was going on in your head, Taran, when you decided you knew it was a Greek campaign? You knew that I was DMing it. This is my first major one aside from the one.
Was fun.
So you decided you're going to come up with a character named Erebus. How did this come about?
Yeah. So I just found the name Erebus online, thought it sounded cool. Eventually we get to the point wherever this character starts getting boring to play. I start hating it a lot because, I was also playing a Blood Hunter, which is not fun. But so I talked to Pertusan about possibly killing off this character or having him retire. So we come up with a way to do that. So I start getting like sleep paralysis demons during long rests and stop getting the benefits of long rests. I just start dying slowly. He just starts giving me levels of exhaustion. And then on the final one, wherever my movement speed is reduced to 0, we get into a place wherever, I think it was my godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, my godfather says he wants to challenge me to a duel. So I'm sitting there in an arena, in a gladiator-style arena, with a man that has this big ball and chain, and he just murders me because I have 0 movement speed. So that's how Erebus died.
Yeah, the whole thing that I did with all that was Taran wanted his character to die, so I was like, I'm going to come up with a cool, fun way to do it. And I was like, Erebus is also the name of the Greek primordial entity of darkness and night. It'd be pretty funny if he started getting haunted by that. So he died both of exhaustion and then his godfather killing him.
And now I have the weapon that killed Erebus.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good.
It's good. I like it.
And then Iris. Iris is a fun character. I'm liking playing Iris. She's current character, although
I liked
part
Iris
of her
when she
died.
was still alive, but I hate Iris.
Yeah, well, thanks.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
So the entire thing with Iris was she was a modified Kalashtar. Kalashtar usually are like hybrid people with spirits and normal people. So what I did was her share a name with the goddess Iris. So they were like same thing, kind of. So it was like she could mentally contact the god Iris. Iris just died recently.
Yeah,
like
that
the
was
goddess.
last session.
I'm still figuring out what to do about that.
Oh, you'll figure it out.
I've got some ideas.
Yeah, Iris has been pretty fun. Oh, what class is Iris?
Monk.
Yeah.
The good monk, because I'm playing Drunken Master and not a bad subclass.
Second shot at a monk. We'll see how it goes. And then what's your next character going to be? I need to know by next session. No, I'm kidding. No.
I have a Goliath cleric lined up for Tuesday.
No, we should save that for another time.
Yeah, we've been going on quite a while.
The stillness of Taran's mind.
Oh,
Stillness of Taran. We have to do that real quick.
We have to. Okay. All right. I'm going to tell this one.
Yeah.
This will be the last thing we do.
Yeah. So you all, those of you listening, you got it. We brought Taran on, as you heard. He's had some tremendous bad luck, either from my dice, from the DM dice, whoever that is at the time, or from Taran's own dice, or just in his decision making. But It's hilarious. We had to share with you how this stuff has gone down.
This is the greatest round of combat that I have ever taken in my entire life.
We just had a recent combat. It was a couple sessions ago. They were fighting a single zombie that had some special abilities. It only had like 120 HP, and they're a party of 5 level 10 people. Easy wipe with just a few abilities that it had. Well, it had one feature where when it jumped in front of someone, it would frighten them if they failed a whiz save. Taran's character, Iris, had failed the whiz save, but he was a 10th level monk. And at the time, he was also flanking someone. We play with the flanking rule. So he would have had disadvantage to hit him, but he would have had advantage from being flanking, would have been a straight roll. But Taran decides he's going to try to run into Levi's character, Xamda's aura, to attempt to end it. As far as we know,
a paladin.
Yeah, the auras don't just end it, it's only to prevent it.
It prevents it.
He runs over there, still frightened. Now he can't run back.
Ending the flanking.
Yeah, and decides to throw 3 ranged weapons that he's not that great at. He's never done. They all miss, and then after all that, he points to me and he says, "Pertusit," looks at his phone. Stillness of mind feature. A monk as an action can end the frightened or charmed condition. He didn't have to do any of it. And so we dubbed that the stillness of Taran's mind. That's what that is.
The thing is that I thought I didn't read the frightened condition whenever I was told that I had it. I thought it was the same as the fear spell, wherever you have to move away from the person giving you fear.
No.
I didn't read it.
Oopsie.
That's on me.
That's okay. It was really funny, and it's gonna live on as an infinite legacy, Taran.
The worst thing he's ever done.
The best thing.
I think best. Okay.
But we thank you for coming on, Taran. We'll probably have you on a few more times, but we got all your stuff out the way. Who knows? We might even, I don't know, probably won't chop this up. But this is good. As everyone at home, you finally got to hear what the heck happened to this guy. It's crazy.
Yep.
And there are even more anecdotes of times that he almost died but didn't die, and it was horrible and gruesome and terrible.
Those are great. And one day we got to tell you what happened with TJ. He's like the inverse. He's got the best luck.
True.
Pretty much.
I'm hoping it turns around for Vivia 3.
It would be funny.
You can't kill Odin.
This is called foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I think that about sums up. We had another idea of topic if we ran out of time, but shoo, it's been a while. We'll cover that next time. Maybe still with Taran anyway.
No.
He's never invited back again.
I don't want him back here ever again. You guys said once was enough.
All I can say is I think it's finally time we got him on this podcast because he Padcost. He embodies what we stand for. Nat 1, yes. Taran. Yes. You are the king of Nat 1s.
Yes.
This is true.
He's the king of nope.
And we made it through without Taran making the noise a single time.
Yeah, he didn't even do it once. God dang it.
Hi, this is Jordan from Nat 1 Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode you just listened to, and we hope that you come back for more soon. If you'd like to keep up with the zany shenanigans of our lives and the different things that we do, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Castbox, and Anchor. We look forward to seeing you again soon. And hey, thanks.